Hi, welcome to the B2 level course. This is lesson 16. So this is a grammar-based lesson. I've called it Passive 1 because there will be 2 lessons on this topic. And the topic is going to be the passive tense. So this is B2 Upper Intermediate and lesson 16. So in this lesson, we will review active and passive sentences, understand why we use the passive tense, and focus on the present simple and the past simple passive, how they are formed. And there will, of course, be lots of opportunity for you to practice. So the purpose of this lesson is to understand the difference between a passive and an active sentence, to explain how we make this tense, and understand why it's important and why we need to use it. Okay, so our first task today is to look at the difference between active and passive sentences. Now, the best way to do this is for me to show you some examples. So I'm going to show you pairs of sentences. In each pair, one sentence is a passive tense and one sentence is an active tense. So we'll have a look at the slides together and see if you notice the difference, see if you can understand what I mean by an active and a passive sentence. Okay, so let's have a look at the first slide together. Okay, sentence number 1. BMW cars are manufactured in Germany. Number 2. Germans manufacture BMW cars. What do you think? Which one is an active sentence and which one is a passive sentence? Let's have a look at our second example. Okay, so let's have a look at the picture. Sentence number 1. My bag was stolen yesterday. Sentence number 2. A thief stole my bag yesterday. What do you think? Which of these is an active sentence and which is a passive sentence? Let's have a look at the third example. Okay, so have a look at the picture. Sentence number 1. The room was cleaned this morning. Sentence number 2. A cleaner cleaned my room this morning. Now, are you starting to notice any similarities between the pairs of sentences? Have a think, maybe pause the video, have a look back at the 3 slides and see if you notice anything, see if you can understand what are passive and what are active sentences. Okay, so let's have a look at the sentences together. So sentence number 1, BMW cars are manufactured in Germany. Germans manufacture BMW cars. The passive sentence is the sentence in green. So the green ones are examples of passive sentences. BMW cars are manufactured in Germany. My bag was stolen yesterday. The room was cleaned this morning. So now is a good opportunity to pause the video again and see if you can understand why. Why are these sentences passive? What's the difference between the green sentences and the black sentences? Okay, well, hopefully you've noticed that in the green sentences, we don't have an agent, we don't have a person, we're not saying who. So BMW cars are manufactured in Germany. We're not saying by Germans. My bag was stolen yesterday. We're not saying by a thief. And the room was cleaned this morning. We're not saying who did it, by a maid. So in each of these examples, we're not saying who, we're not telling the agent. So why is this important? Well, let's have a look at why we use the passive tense, and then it will become a bit clearer. So let's have a look at the use. So why do we need the passive tense? Well, in our examples, the who is either not important or it's obvious. For example, my bag was stolen yesterday. My bag was stolen by a thief. It's obvious that the person who stole my bag is a thief. The same with BMW cars are manufactured in Germany. It's not important by whom. And my room was cleaned this morning. Again, I don't need to say who did this. The point I want to express is that my room was cleaned. So we need to use the passive when the who is not important. Okay, so we often see the passive tense used in newspapers, in formal writing, or when the person who's writing wants to distance themselves. They're not being direct. They're not saying who did the action. So these are the uses of the passive tense. So what we need to look at now is how we make it. How do we form this tense? Okay, present simple passive is formed with the present simple of the verb to be and a past participle. So I've given you 3 examples here of a positive sentence, a negative sentence, and a question form sentence. So when you're learning a new tense, when you're looking at a new tense, it's always useful to consider these 3 aspects: how the tense is used in a positive way, how it's used in a negative way, and thirdly, how it's used in an interrogative way. So the example is, the room is cleaned every day. Negative, the room isn't cleaned every day. And question, is the room cleaned every day? Okay, so that's the present simple. Let's see if you can make some sentences. So I've given you the 3, the positive, the negative, and the question form. Pause the slide and see if you can make me 3 sentences using present simple passive. Okay, how did you do? Let's have a look together. Okay, so your positive sentence should be, the parcel is delivered on time. Negative, the parcel isn't delivered on time. And question, is the parcel delivered on time? So well done if you correctly managed to form those 3 sentences. That's the present simple passive. Okay, so the next tense we're looking at is the past simple. So we've moved from present simple to the past simple. And again, we'll have a look at a positive sentence, a negative sentence, and an interrogative sentence. So the past simple passive is formed with the past simple of the verb to be and the past participle. So my examples, positive, the accident was caused by fog. Negative, the accident wasn't caused by fog. And interrogative, was the accident caused by fog? Okay, so now's your chance to practice. Again, I've given you 3 sentences. I've given you the verb that I'd like you to use, and I just want you to make me a positive, a negative, and a question form in the past simple passive. So pause the slide and write down your answers. Okay, how did you do? Let's check together. Okay, so your positive sentence should be, the flight was delayed. Negative, the flight wasn't delayed. And question, was the flight delayed? So hopefully you correctly formed your 3 past simple passive sentences. So remember, it's the verb to be in the present or the past and the past participle. Okay, so now we're going to move on to a bit more challenging exercise. I've got 7 sentences and I want you to make the present or the past simple passive for each sentence. So read the sentence, understand, is it in the present? Is it in the past? Use the verb that I have given you and see if you can correctly make 7 passive sentences. So, number 1, the report at 12 p.m. every day. Number 2, the plane for 2 hours. Number 3, Lindt chocolate in Switzerland. Number 4, the castle in 1558. Number 5, my purse from the pub. Number 6, the letter a week ago. And number 7, the children from the fire. So pause the slide, use the verbs that I've given and make a sentence in the present or the past simple passive. Sometimes it may be you can use either, but in some examples you have to use either the present or the past. So pause the slide and have a go. Okay, how did you find that? Let's have a look at the answers together. Okay, so number 1, the report is generated at 12 p.m. every day. Number 2, the plane was delayed for 2 hours. Here, of course, you could also have is delayed, depending on how you understand the sentence. Number 3, Lindt chocolate is made in Switzerland. Number 4, the castle was built in 1558. Number 5, my purse was stolen from the pub. Number 6, the letter was posted a week ago. And number 7, the children were rescued from the fire. Well done if you managed to get all 7 correct. That's really good. So when we look at these 7 sentences, it hopefully makes it a bit clearer that in each sentence we don't need to say by who, because it's either obvious or it's not important. It's not what we're trying to convey with the sentence. So for example, number 1, the report is generated at 12 p.m. every day. If you want to say who does this, you can say by and then the agent. But if it's not important, you don't need to. For example, let's have a look at number 3. Lindt chocolate is made in Switzerland by... Well, it's not really very important here because we understand that it's by the people who manufacture the chocolate, so we don't need to say it. Again, with number 5, my purse was stolen from the pub. Perhaps I don't know who stole it, but in any case, it's a thief, so I don't need to say this. So hopefully this makes it a little bit clearer as to why we need to use the passive tense. Okay, so our last exercise, we're going to have a look at some active sentences and we're going to try to change them into the passive because sometimes it doesn't sound very natural to use an active sentence. So let's have a look at the active sentences. Number 1. Builders built this house in 1970. Number 2. Somebody told me to wait here. Number 3. The police arrested 2 men. Number 4. Cleaners clean this room every day. Number 5. Italians produce pasta in Italy. And number 6. They closed the road due to an accident. So in each sentence, we've got an agent, builders, somebody, the police, cleaners, Italians, they. But perhaps these are not important. So we're going to change these active sentences into passive. So pause the slide and see if you can do this. Okay, how did you find that? Let's have a look and check our answers together. So, number 1, this house was built in 1970. Number 2, I was told to wait here. Number 3, 2 men were arrested. Number 4, this room is cleaned every day. Number 5, pasta is produced in Italy. And number 6, the road is closed due to an accident. So hopefully you managed to correctly choose present simple passive or past simple passive. And hopefully also you can see that these sentences sound a lot more natural due to the context than the active examples. Okay, so as I explained at the beginning, this was the first lesson of 2 lessons looking at the passive tense. In the second lesson, which will be lesson 18, we will have a look at some different tenses. So today we've looked at present simple and past simple. In the next lesson, we will stretch this a bit further and have a look at some different examples of other tenses used in the passive form. But what's important in this session is that you can recognize the difference between an active and a passive sentence. You understand how to make a passive sentence, and you understand why we need to use it. So if you can do those things, then well done, it's a successful lesson. Lesson 17 is going to be a vocabulary lesson. So remember, we always alternate grammar vocabulary so that you have the variety. So to find out more, please join me for the B2 level course, lesson number 17. Thank you very much for watching.